Welcome back to the C Block, or final section of Cannabis Coast to Coast News. I'm Alaina Pinto. The Raw Rolling Papers brand won a trademark infringement lawsuit that this weekend was awarded $8.7 million in damages. The guilty party here is Ames Group USA and its subsidiaries, that includes Florida One Wholesale and Brocone Organic. U.S. District Judge Brenda Wexler from Nevada made the ruling that the design and packaging were both too similar to the Raw brand, the number one rolling paper company in the world. No wonder their CEO, Josh Kesselman, is always smiling in photos. I would too. Next up, Oklahoma and Kimmy Cannabis.
I'm Kimmy Cannabis from Can I Talk About It with Oklahoma Cannabis Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Oklahoma lawmakers are currently debating House Bill 1750, a measure that could have far-reaching effects on the state's medical cannabis community. If enacted, the bill would take effect on November 1st, 2025, prohibiting pregnant women with medical marijuana licenses from using cannabis while knowingly pregnant. Advocates warn that the legislation may have unintended and harmful consequences. Jed Green, founder of ORCA, Oklahomans for Responsible Cannabis Access, criticized the bill for undermining medical autonomy. Cannabis offers vital relief from pregnancy-related challenges like morning sickness, Green said. Cannabinoids are naturally present in the breast milk, highlighting their role in human health. Decisions about cannabis use during pregnancy should remain between patients and their doctors, not dictated by lawmakers lacking expertise and understanding. Green also cautioned that the bill could disrupt families. This legislation could result in children being removed from their homes and placed into a state system already under scrutiny for failing to care for those in need. Cannabis use under medical supervision is not a valid reason to separate mothers and their children. As the legislation session resumes on February 3rd, the evolving landscape of cannabis policy in Oklahoma will remain a key topic of discussion. That will do it for the Oklahoma Cannabis Report for this week. I'm Kimmy Cannabis reporting for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Peace, love, and all that good stuff.
In New York State this week, the Supreme Court there released a decision that the state will not be able to search licensed hemp retailers without a warrant. The case was brought by Super Smoke and Save versus the New York State Cannabis Control Board and the Sheriff's Department. This led to unannounced inspections, seizures of product, and the placing of signs on those stores saying they were selling unlicensed cannabis. Here's Jill Goldsberry with the New Jersey Cannabis Report.
I'm Jill Goldsberry with the Garden State Cannabis Report here at Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Hope you guys are doing great today. And after the week we've had, we deserve some good news. We've got some good news from New Jersey officials here that are trying to do the right thing. Okay? New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy and our Attorney General Matt Platkin announced this week that $14.5 million will be going towards violence prevention via the community-based violent intervention grant. And a portion of that money, a large portion of that money comes from the adult cannabis sales tax. And the other portion of that is coming from the CREAM fund. So that is a great thing. The money will be used for 27 different organizations through the fund. And it will be used for social advocacy and violence prevention programs, obviously. In other news, Heading, New Jersey recently had their first I'm not sure if it's the first, but they recently held their Legacy to Legal forum this week. And you can read more about that on headingnewjersey.com. Go check them out. In other news, wrestler Ric Flair has a brand new cannabis partnership with Cannabis and launched this week. So you could find those products in their stores. So if you want to find out more about the exact stores that they're in, I would advise you to go check out headingnewjersey.com for that information as well, because they are the ones that reported it. I'm Jill Goldsberry with the Garden State Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News, and I'll see you on the next report. Thanks for watching.
The state of South Carolina has some of the most strict laws on cannabis in the country. Now, a pro-cannabis senator there, Tom Davis, has introduced a law to create a medicinal program that would be distributed by 3 pharmacies in designated counties. The whole operation would be under the Department of Public Health and Safety. This bill has a long way to go, but any movement in that conservative state is seen as a win for advocates. Now let's check in on Ohio with Christina Brisson. The Ohio Cannabis Report is sponsored by Yellow Labs, now in 40 dispensaries in that state and now available at select stores in Massachusetts.
In Loveland, Ohio, Emily and Mark seek to deepen their bond through intimacy. They turn to Yellow Labs Rose Oil Massage Cream with delivery technology, promising enhanced pleasure and connection. The cream ignites increased sensitivity and arousal as they apply it, kindling a shared passion. Excited by its effects, they find joy in shared closeness and moments of unity.
I'm Christina Brisson with Over the Top Renovations with your weekly Ohio Cannabis Report with Cannabis Coast to Coast News. I have 3 stories for you this week, the first of which is they are opening 5 new dispensaries in Stark County, 2 in Massillon, 2 in Canton, and 1 in Alliance. And then now the Division of Cannabis Control has opened a new cannabis service center, currently receiving about 120 calls a day. They answer questions about licenses, patient questions, non-medical, adult, and just general public questions. You can reach them at the number that's on the screen. And then my last story is in Columbus and surrounding areas, you can now have your cannabis delivered. Homegrown Cannabis Company is now offering delivery. They are open from 6 to 10 p.m. You can place your order as late as 5 p.m. It must be a minimum $50. You have to be 21 or 18 with a medical card. Really excited about having delivery in my own hometown. And that's your Ohio Cannabis Report. And this is Christina Brisson with Over the Top Renovations with Cannabis Coast to Coast News.
The Ohio Cannabis Report is supported by Yellow Labs and BetterWaysToTHC.com. Search for Yellow Labs near me and find one of 40 dispensaries in Ohio carrying these amazing mists and creams.
I'm Doug Miller from High on Wall Street with this week's Cannabis Stock Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Federal prosecutors have indicted a former executive of MSO Verano Holdings Corp. On a charge of insider trading. Anthony Marsco, a former executive vice president at the Chicago-based MSO, allegedly used privileged information regarding a pending merger of Verano and Viero Growth to collect a 6-figure profit, according to a release from the U.S. Attorney's Office. And in other news, iSpire authorized the repurchase of up to $10 million in shares of the marijuana vaping hardware company's common stock in the next 24 months. iSpire Technology shares trades on the NASDAQ exchange under the stock ticker ISPR. It's trading around $4.50 and it's curling off the bottom. You're going to want to keep an eye on this as it's setting up and it's looking really good. So trade smart, lock in those profits. And that's this week's Cannabis Stock Report. Reporting for Cannabis Coast to Coast News, I'm Doug Miller.
And finally tonight, one of the most recognized faces in cannabis is Snoop Dogg, who seems to be everywhere these days. And now the rapper and media personality performed at the Trump inauguration, upsetting many in the Black community. 4 years ago, Snoop was not a big fan of Trump until he commuted the sentence of the founder of his death row record label, Harry O, or Michael Harris. That's when Snoop did an about-face and decided that Trump wasn't such a bad guy after all. As boxing promoter Don King used to say, only in America. That's this week's Cannabis Coast to Coast News. We will see you next time. Remember to consume responsibly.
I think I messed up. Did you know there's a place that covers all the cannabis news you need? Welcome to Cannabis Media, your go-to for all things cannabis. PCM is the CNBC of weed, bringing you the latest news and talk shows with a twist. We've got 16 state correspondents and multimedia journalists from around the US and Canada.
Hey everybody, it's Brandon Jones with Big Green Distribution with the Missouri Cannabis Report.
I'm Karen Black from Green Finger Consulting with the Arizona Cannabis Report.
I'm Amy Carter from Michigan Weedsters.
Andrew Behringer here reporting from Washington, D.C.
It's Debbie Fazy with the Canadian Toke of the Week.
It all started back in 2018 when founder Jimmy Young kicked off the In the Weeds podcast. His mission? Documenting the fight to end cannabis prohibition. Fast forward to today and we've got Cannabis Coast to Coast with Alaina Pinto, delivering the nation's only TV-style cannabis news show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Cannabis Coast to Coast, PCM TV's weekly roundup of industry news from California to New York. I'm Alaina Pinto.
As of August 2024, PCM has racked up over 1.2 million views and 14.5 million impressions on our YouTube channel. With 15,000 subscribers and growing, our reach is spreading like wildfire. PCM's website, YouTube, Rumble, Discord, Roku, Twitch, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and even our very own PCM TV app. Get your cannabis news fix with Pro Cannabis Media. We're here to keep you informed and entertained. Stay tuned and stay lifted.